And I said, do you think I have mental health?
Yeah.
And then she goes, yeah, I think you do. And I knew she said it out because she was angry.
Yeah,
she didn't mean it, but she said it because she was angry. And then I was like, and I said, are you fucking stupid? I said it because one, I wanted to hurt her at that time because I was so hurt. I wanted to hurt her. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, I can see it in your face.
Your dad said this about me. I said, this is true. And
this is what I don't understand. So you must endure heartbreak, depression, and all of these things. Like, if they force you to break up with him, for what? So they're happy. So that will then make them happy that you have to go through that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I'm pregnant. And she was like, well, you need to pack your stuff and leave before your dad gets home.
Literally just like that.
That is what she said to me. And I was like,
did he disown you?
Yeah, both of them did. Throughout my whole pregnancy.
Your mum as well?
Yeah.
Hey loves, welcome to the Cilia Li Show. My name is Celia and today we've got a new guest here. She's the one that does my nails all the time. For those who know me, I'm crazy about nails. She's the one, the talented Shreeya that does my nails.
Thank you.
So me and Shreeya, actually, we've known each other since we were teenagers.
20 years plus. Literally now.
Oh my God.
20 years.
20 plus. Oh my God, that makes me feel so old.
We old, hun. We old.
We might not look it, but yeah. So today we want to talk about interracial relationships. And both me and Shreeya. So Shreeya, where are you from originally?
I'm Indian.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we both basically been dating outside our race, really. And especially we come from a culture where
it's not allowed.
Yeah. It's only recently probably like getting a bit better. But anyway, so I remember after school, you leaving school, one day I find out that you're pregnant. And tell us about that.
So not straight after I left school. There was a few there was a few years. I was 19 when I fell pregnant. And so basically I was with this guy. We were together for about 3.5, 4 years. Met when I was 17. Shall I tell you how he drew me?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on. Tell us everything. We want a juice.
So yeah, when I was 17, I had a part-time job. Yeah. Do you remember men's clothing store called Blue Ink?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Right. So I was working in there.
Yeah.
And so where I was working, it was like inside the shopping centre, and opposite was a phone shop. Orange. Do you remember Orange? Right.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
open. It was like an open front and side shop.
Yeah.
So basically, I've come down from my lunch and there's these two guys in the shop and they're looking at like jeans and like woolly hats.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, he's cute. Then they left and I got on with my work, doing what I was doing. And then, so there was two, right? There were two.
Yeah.
Two guys. There was my ex and there was his stepbrother. But at the time I didn't know this, And stepbrother, not really my type. Anyway, I'm getting on with my work. About 15 minutes passes, and the stepbrother's come back, come back into the shop. And he's like, my brother really likes you, but he's too shy. He's too shy to get your number to ask you. I'm like, if he wants my number, he has to come and ask me for it.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's gone. I'm like, you have to tell him he has to come and chat to me. So he's come back, or they come back, but my manager's there, innit? I'm like, you lot are going to have to wait in Orange because my manager's here. I need to be seen that I'm doing my work. Yeah. So anyway, we exchanged numbers, we're texting, everything's cool. But obviously, I knew my parents were not going to have it. And
where's he from?
He's St. Lucian.
Okay.
Like British-born St. Lucian. And yeah, I knew my parents wouldn't have it. But we was always going out to eat and going out and doing cute little date things. You know, when you're at that age, you go cinema, you go freaking Pizza Hut, wherever you're going, We was doing the most, actually.
I swear Pizza Hut used to be the place for...
Pizza Hut, then cinema,
Yeah, it's always...
Yeah, so we were doing the most. Like, it was so cute. And I was so, like, infatuated with him. I used to think he was the nicest thing ever. I fancied him so much, Can
I just ask you this, right? So, this is talking of going back to over 15 years ago now. So, back then, so when you first met him, how do you know... When did you become boyfriends and girlfriends?
I don't know.
The official, do you know what I mean? Because the reason I'm asking, because the dating in today's society is so different.
Like, you're my girl.
Yeah, exactly. So back,
like, yeah,
back then it's always been like, oh yeah, I got a boyfriend.
We had like remember 5 day pass on T-Mobile. Yeah, we had 5 day pass.
Oh my god!
And I used to make sure I reloaded that 5 day pass so I could chat to him. But yeah, like we used to talk all the time, and then he was just like, "You're my girl," and I was like, okay.
Yeah, like, but now it's like you have to go through like talking stage. You might, if even doing talking stage, you might not even meet up. And after there's a seeing stage and scenes.
It's long.
It's long, yeah.
Back then you didn't have that. And remember, Facebook had just about come out. You didn't have like Snapchat, Instagram. I don't use Snapchat, but you know, you didn't have any of that. Yeah. So if you wanted to get to know someone, you actually had to chat to them.
Yeah, and I think that's the way.
You couldn't do like a search. You couldn't search them and find anything out.
Yeah, and that's why I rate like old school men. Like when I say old school men, basically people, our generation, basically, they know how to. Well, not necessarily know how to approach women, but at least they have some sort of better experience, and things like that. And anyway, like I said, basically back then the dating scene was just a lot simpler.
But do you know what? We were young. Like it's not like dating now. It was more innocent. Yeah. Do you understand?
now there's too many options. I'll swipe. I'm meeting some guy I met on Tinder, going on date, all that. And then maybe I've got another day. Where back then it's more like you
had to speak to them.
Yeah,
you had to physically speak to them in order to get a number. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was different.
Yeah. But anyway, so going back. Okay,
We were seeing each other.
Yeah.
Like, well, I was his girl. He was my man. And then I remember, like, it was one Valentine's Day, and he's like, I'm going to book a restaurant. We're going to go out to eat, and I've bought you this. Like, I've bought you some gifts. And so, like, I knew that I would be returning home with gifts. And in my hand, like, the way my parents' house is, you walk through the front door and it's the sitting room, and then you have to walk through the sitting room to get upstairs, and I wasn't going to be able to hide whatever I had. What
did he get you?
He got me one of those huge, like a card that's like this size.
Oh,
like
that's so cute.
Card, He got me it was a balloon with a teddy bear in it. There was just no way I was going to sneak this past my parents, And I remember telling them, I'm going out to eat with my boyfriend. My dad was like, I don't want to hear about no boyfriend. And then...
So wait, you were 17 then? Mm-hmm. And they went...
I was about 18.
And you're not allowed a boyfriend?
Yeah. He didn't... Do you know what it was? It was... I think the fact that he was black as well. My dad's like... they knew? Yeah, I had to tell them.
Okay.
I told them, right? And they were like... My dad was like, I don't want to hear about no black boyfriend. Don't want to hear about it.
So wait, when did you tell him? Is that on the Valentine's Day you told them? Or you told them before?
I kind of broke it to them before that I had a boyfriend. And my dad was like, I don't want to hear about it. And then when I was going out, I was like, I'm going out with him. My dad was like, I don't want to hear about it. But in my head, I'm like, I know you don't want to hear about it, but I will tell you, because I'm going out with this person, and if I lie to you, I'm in more trouble. So let me tell you the truth and tell you I'm going out with this person. If however you lot handle it, that's a you problem. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you. So I've come back in the house anyway. I've got all my, and the way I was so anxious, to walk in the house with this stuff, I literally walked through the front door, walked straight upstairs, and I know my mum and dad are looking at each other like, did you see what she's just like walked in?
Yeah.
I went straight to my room and I put all my stuff in my room. And after that, like, they were aware of him. They were not very happy, but they were aware. Yeah, that was it really. So, but his mum and stepdad were way more like welcoming of me than my parents would have ever been. Yeah. Do you know?
And how was the dynamic the whole time in the house?
I don't know. When I was a teenager, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my parents anyway, and I think they just thought it was like oh, she's just rebelling against us. But they have to, you know what parents have to understand, that when your kids do things, not every time is to get back at you. They are their own people and they have their own minds.
Exactly,
you know?
So for me, like similar. So my first boyfriend is Nigerian.
Okay.
And I met him at a train station outside Stratford Station. This is the story. So basically,
how did he chat to you? What was the lyrics?
So we're gonna come back to your son afterwards as well. So I was outside Stratford Station. I had this like part-time job at the time. I remember I was handing out flyers for this fashion designer, and it was just, I think it was like a voucher for jeans or something like that. But anyway, so I was just handing out, and I remember giving him the flyer. And then he walked past me, and then I saw him turn back around, and he came back to me. He's like, oh, what is this? Like that. I was like, oh, this is a voucher for jeans, for female jeans. I mean, do you have mother, sister, girlfriend, whatever? You can basically give it to them, and they can get like a discounted jeans. He was like, oh, okay, I see, like that. And he goes, so wait, so what you're saying then? Like, can you get your number?
What are you saying, you know?
But to be honest, I don't remember. This is such a long time ago. But he's pretty much along those lines, And I was young. I was like 18, and I'm not gonna lie. I kind of liked his. You know, when you're young, you like the bad boys, isn't it? And he had that like little sort of bad boy kind of attitudes. And then when he was chatting me up, then I was like, I liked it. I gave him my number, and then and again, it was literally after this first day, we became boyfriends and girlfriends, just as easy as that. Literally within 2 weeks, we were going out like that, And yeah, with him though, I didn't tell my parents until probably like 3 months later. But I lied at first.
What did you say to them?
I said they were. So how did they notice? I can't remember how they found out I got a boyfriend. But I said that. Oh, they asked me, where's he from? And I lied, and I said, oh, he's Turkish. Reason? I mean, if I'm thinking,
that's so random, you know.
I know. Do you know why I said Turkish? Because
Turkish is like. Yeah, okay.
No, because I was born in Sweden. I came from Sweden, and where I grew up in Sweden, was like Edmonton.
So you knew there would be more acceptance.
Yeah, so because I think we had a conversation where my mum was like, even my cousin was saying, my cousin who's still in Sweden was saying to me, we reckon that she was like, oh, I reckon if you still lived in Sweden, you probably will be dating a Turkish guy. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. And even my mum said, I wouldn't be surprised because, you know, you grew up like with the Turks like that. And then she was like, yeah, but they are good looking people. Anyway, so that's why I said Turkish, right? Yeah. And how they found out in the end is because I told them in the end afterwards. I think I was thinking to myself, I can't lie to them. Yeah. I have to tell them.
You have to tell.
Yeah. So then I was like,
because the lying gets long.
Yeah, exactly.
The lying, and you're like, oh, now I have to remember what I lied about.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually one day I was just like, I was like, Mum, come into my room, please. She was like, okay, what? And I was like, oh my God, I'm telling you. I was like, I got something to tell you. She was like, what is it? And I think she couldn't sense what it was because her face changed. I was like, I said, my boyfriend's Turkish. She was like, yeah, he's not. And her face just changed. And I was like, he is... It took me like ages to say, where is he from? Out. Yeah, and then he was just like... and then when I told her, she was like, nope, like that. And then she stormed out, and my dad came in like, what happened? Because she was proper like shouting. And then my dad was like, what's wrong? What happened? And then you ask your daughter. And yeah, that was it. Like, it was like drama since then.
What was your dad's reaction?
I can't remember, but he wasn't happy because... So he wasn't British born, Nigerian. Oh. He came here on a student visa. Okay. So automatically they assumed he was just using me to get a visa to get like a marriage and then
What did they think? You were going to marry him?
Yeah, I guess yeah. They was like, oh, be careful, he probably just trying to get you. And they even said like, oh, they probably just he's only dating you because you're Chinese. There's a fetish, like they just feel curious about you because you're Chinese, blah blah blah, thing like that.
Oh, what a thing to put in your head.
Yeah, and then and saying, oh, he just wants to be with you for your passport, blah blah blah, things like that. And then afterwards, as I remember, my mum also had a Vietnamese friend, telling her that my sister married a Nigerian person and now they split up after he got his passport. So he was like, she was trying to give me all
But
this.
that's
Like,
just saying every single Nigerian man is the same.
yeah, exactly. And I used to just refuse listening to her, blah blah, things like that.
Yeah.
But the vibe wasn't good at home. The dynamic wasn't good. I remember it was really tense and.
Like no conversation with
Yeah,
them.
it was. Yeah, we started growing apart and things like that. But it wasn't a healthy relationship, though. However,
What, with him?
yeah, it wasn't.
Okay.
In a way, as in like he was basically a bad boy. The people he was hanging around with wasn't great, and he was very controlling.
Okay.
And
In what way?
I wasn't allowed out.
At that young age?
He would take. As I'm talking about my ex,
Yeah.
right? I remember one time I was at uni. I said, "Oh, I'm going to go out with my friends on Saturday night for my friend's birthday or something like that." He goes, "You're not going." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm not going?" He goes, "I'm not letting you out at night time. Do you know you're the risk of getting raped at night?" And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Listen, you're not going." And I kicked off. I was like, "What the hell are you talking about? It's my friend's birthday." Da, da, da. He goes, "You're not going. We're not having this conversation. You're not going." This is what I mean by like he was controlling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So and one time even because he was on a student visa. But anyway, there's another story to this. Basically, he always got deported one time, so his passport was the Home Office, so he can't even get a job, right? Anyway, so because he was struggling financially, so he was really pretty much living off me as well. Yeah, and then also like I remember I got a phone contract out for him as well.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and all of that, and my dad found out because the letter it was an O2, and I'm with T-Mobile at the time, and the O2 letter came through. He opened the letter, and I remember I was on my way home from uni, and my dad was like, "I got something to speak to you about." I was like, "What?" He gave me the letter. I was like, "What's this? Why did you? What is this phone yours?" I was like, "Was it for him?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then I was like, he goes, "Whatever." He goes, "I don't care what you're gonna do, but you're gonna take that phone back." So thank goodness it was within the cooling day period, cooling off period. So I took it back. But yeah.
Did you tell him?
I told him, of course, because he can't use the phone. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I had to tell him. He goes, "What?" And then, but anyways, a lot of madness with this boyfriend. But anyway, that's my experience.
That's your first boyfriend?
My very first
Oh my
boyfriend. Yeah.
God.
So like, I was with him for 3 years as well.
That's a long time.
Yeah, like it was. There's a lot of story with that one, but yeah.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it's going back to you. So okay, so you with your ex. Was it your first like boyfriend?
This is my first boyfriend.
First boyfriend. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so then you fell pregnant.
I fell pregnant at 19.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I was shocked. You know, yeah. I thought it wasn't real because when I did the pregnancy test, the line was so faint. I had to hold it up to the light to see it, and I'm like, oh, that can't be real because it will be very, very clear. You know, pregnant, not pregnant. So yeah, I was shocked. But I did about 8 pregnancy tests
Yeah.
to confirm it. And I remember like the first.
Were you scared? Like, what was going through in your mind?
Panic.
Okay.
Panic. Yeah. Panic.
Because?
Well, actually, before this, like, my parents were really not happy about me being with him, and they kicked me out. Yeah.
Oh, really?
They kicked me out, and so I went to live at his, and his stepdad picked me up with him. I remember my dad coming out.
Well, this is before you fell pregnant?
Yeah, before I fell pregnant.
Okay.
I was only there for about a week or so, and my dad was so cross and angry, and he couldn't believe that I was just willing to move out, like leave, because they were not happy. Obviously they're not happy with this decision. So I think he wanted, like, by telling me to leave, I think they thought I was going to say, oh no, don't worry, I'll break up with him and stay at home. Yeah. And I was, at this point I was like, no, fine. Do you know what, I'll go.
Yeah.
And his stepdad came to pick us up, and he was like, my dad came out, and my dad was talking to him, but my dad was angry, so kind of being rude. Then his stepdad was like not giving him any information. My dad's like, where are you taking her? And you know, he's not giving him the address and stuff like that. And you know, it got a bit heated. But yeah, so then I was there for about a week, and then my parents, they booked like a family holiday. Yeah. And they were like, are you gonna come? And my mum spoke to me, and she kind of like, we had a bit of more of an understanding. Yeah, where they were willing to kind of accept him, yeah, like partially, yeah. So I went on the holiday, I moved back home, And then anyway, so when I found out I was pregnant.
So you went on the holiday?
Yeah, I went on the holiday,
Yeah.
came back. Then about 6 months later, I found out, is when I fell pregnant. And so I did the test. I was at home. I phoned my friend, like my best friend, and I was like, I think I'm pregnant. She was like, what do you mean you think? Yeah. I was like, there's a really faint line. I was like, I'm going to come to yours and we've got to do more tests. So we went to Poundland, and in Edmonton Green, and we got like the sticks that you dip into the urine. You can buy it's like a pack of 3, And I'm like, let's just get 2 packs of this.
You can get pregnancy tests in Poundland.
Yeah, but it was like the very basic ones. It was like the ones that like they do in like doctor's surgery.
Okay,
stuff like
I didn't even know they do them in Poundland.
Yeah, well, they did.
Okay.
So we went. I bought 2 packets of 3, so that's 6 tests. Yeah. So did them all, and I looked at them too soon. Anyway, there was no 2 lines. It was just the 1 line. So I put them back in the packet. Yeah. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm not pregnant. So he's, my ex, he come to pick me up, and I'm like, oh, like, you don't have to worry, I'm not pregnant. I pulled out the tests. Every single one was positive. Every single one was, I was like, they weren't positive. When I looked, they were not positive, So I think it's because I did it so early on, so then we didn't, I was like, I can't tell my parents. And his mom would have lost her shit if she found out, because remember, we're still young, He's a year younger than me, so he was 18, I was 19. So we went to his dad's one day, and he has a lovely stepmom and a lovely dad. Like, his dad and stepmom are both like such nice people. But we went there and we told his dad, and we told his stepmom, and the reaction that I got from them was not what I was expecting. They were just so, they were like, okay, so how do you want to handle it? Like,
very calm.
Like, very calm. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And they were like, well, have you told his mum? And we were like, no, we have not. So anyway, his dad now phones his mum. And was like, listen, I've got something to tell you. Are you sitting down? She was like, oh, my son, what's happened to my son? He's like, listen, relax. Just, are you sitting down? Then he's told her, and she lost her shit. And she was more pissed off, actually, at the fact that we told his dad first and not her. And she went mad. She was like, you've trapped my son. She, for the first 3 months of my pregnancy, was not very nice to me, but anyway, so when I had to tell my parents now, which is like probably about a week after I found out, I'm like, God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to tell, like, my dad was the killer. I'm like, how am I going to tell him? So one day I had college, and my mum was going to work, and literally, like, as she was about to leave out the door, I called her upstairs. I'm like, I've got something to tell you. She's like, what? Like, I got to leave for work, kind of thing. I was like, I'm pregnant. And she was like, well, you need to pack your stuff and leave before your dad gets home.
Literally just like that?
That is what she said to me. And I was like, okay. So then I phoned my ex, and I'm like, listen, this is what my mum said. And I was like, I really do need to get out of here before my dad gets home.
What was going to happen?
I just thought he was going to get angry. Like, my dad wasn't somebody who got mad very often, but when he did get angry, he meant it. My mum was always the one that was moody, miserable, do you know what I mean? Moany. But my dad, not so much, But he was always at work.
Would he beat you up?
No.
Not beat you up, but you know what I mean?
No, nothing like that. But he would have got mad, And, like, we packed up my stuff. His dad, my ex's dad, was like, you know what, you can come and stay with us, no problem. So we're driving. Now, his dad lives in Hackney, So we're driving through, like, Stamford Hill, And my my dad phones my phone, yeah. So imagine it's 9 a.m. when I've told my mum. We've spent about 2-3 hours packing out, like 2 hours packing my shit, yeah, quickly. And then...
Did you clear out your room?
Pretty much clothes. I took all the clothes I could... Everything I could think of that I would need, I took, yeah. And then we've gone to his dad's.
Yeah.
And on the way there, my dad phones my phone. So I know at this point, it's my mum's lunch, yeah? And she's phoned my dad on her lunch. My dad's at work, my mum's come home for her lunch, she's spoken to him, and now he's got on the phone to me. And my ex had to pull up on the side because my dad didn't even want to speak to me, he wanted to speak to him. And he was just like, how are you going to support this baby? Like, all these questions, all these questions. And we were young, like, we didn't have the answers to those questions. Like, we were still trying to figure shit out. Yeah.
No, I'm more shocked the fact that that's what he phoned to ask. I thought he was going to phone you, but like, I'm so disappointed in you.
He didn't speak to me.
Okay.
He did not speak to me.
Did he disown you?
Yeah, both of them did. Throughout my whole pregnancy.
Your mum as well?
Yeah.
What did they say? Like on that phone call or?
It was basically, don't come back home. Yeah. So...
And how did you feel?
I mean, lonely, yeah, because you're 19, you've just found out you're pregnant, you're staying with your partner, your boyfriend's at your boyfriend's dad's with his sister and stepmom and everyone. It's all over the place. And then these times, so I'd finished college, I was working, but my work was right near where I lived. Yeah, so I'm commuting from like Hackney to Hertfordshire every day to work. You don't really know how to look after yourself during a pregnancy at that age. Do you know what I mean? So not necessarily eating the right things, like how I would look after myself now if I were to fall pregnant. I didn't do that then. I didn't do that because I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have anyone really guiding me. I mean, I had his stepmom who would, make certain food for me and whatever, but it's different when it's not your own parents or your own family, guiding you. And like I would chat to my brother. Like he still lived at home, so I'd chat to my brother every now and again. But my mum and dad, no. And I had to go like to the council. They put me in like a hostel, which again was round the corner from my parents' house, And I remember, like, I still had house keys, and I needed to go and get some stuff. And I remember they were not going to be there, So I'm like, I'm just going to, like, sneak in. I know they're not there, get what I'm getting. So anyway, I packed what I wanted. And then I just, like, sat on the sofa and started watching TV, And then they came back. Yeah, I could see the car reversing onto the drive, like the reverse lights, And I was like, shit, what do I do? I didn't know what to do, and I was like, you just got to sit here, you just have to face it, Like I couldn't have run out of the back because they would have seen me, like I couldn't do anything, so I was like, shit. I was like, do I hide and then sneak out? Like, no, can't do any of that, So just sat there, and my dad walked in, and he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, get out of my house, like get out of my house. These times I was
pregnant.
I was showing, I was showing. I was probably about 4 or 5 months pregnant, showing. And I've left the house with my stuff, and my mum's just like looking at me like at the door. And I know she felt a bit like, I think my mum would have wanted me to stay, but my dad, the way he was, she kind of had to do what... He wasn't a controlling man or anything like that, but in this culture, you have to kind of listen to your husband. Do you understand? Okay.
So did your dad react the way he reacted, as in this only because of culture, or is it because of himself? Like, he just didn't want you?
I think it's culture, I think if he didn't have... in our culture, if it wasn't the way it was, he... would have been probably still disappointed because I was young and pregnant. However, they probably would have stood by me. But it was more a thing of how are other people going to look and gossip amongst themselves. And like I said, his parents as well. Like his parents were alive, so that was another big I think personally, we've never actually had this conversation.
Yeah. For me, so pretty much all my boyfriend were black.
Yeah.
Except for one, he was Afghan.
You ever bought an East Asian home?
No, never. But anyway, so with all the, I remember one time when it was my long term, the one with for 9 years, D, the one you met.
Yeah.
One time I remember he was going to take me to the airport because I was going to Hong Kong, and he was going to take me to the airport. I was like, because my mom said, "Oh, who's going to take? Do you want us to take you to the airport?" I was like, "No, D's going to take me." She was like, "Okay then," and she was like, "Well, might not be a good idea." I'm like, "Why?" Just because your uncle's also going to Hong Kong today, so you might bump into him in the airport. And I was just like, I can do whatever I want. Why should I avoid? I did. When she said that, it pissed me off. At the same time, I was so pissed. I didn't know how.
You know what it is? They care so much about showing face.
Yeah.
That they will disregard your feelings.
Yeah.
Because all they really care about is how you are perceived by everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I said, I don't care what he thinks. And she goes, I know you don't know what he thinks, but I don't know, how am I going to face them? All of that. He's going to start, and she was like, he's going to start chatting shit about you, blah blah blah. And I was like, Mum, I really don't care what he's got to say. And then my dad was like, anyway, don't worry, because he normally takes another different airline anyway, which is another terminal, so you won't see him anywhere like that. So she was like,
that sounds a bit more understanding than your mum.
Yeah. So with D,
did they meet him?
They did. He's been to my house like 4 times for Chinese New Year and Christmas.
Okay.
So, and at my graduation. So D is my third boyfriend, and he is like half Trinidad, from Trinidad. I think his dad's from Trinidad, and his mum is like mixed Portuguese and something like that. Anyway, yeah. So when they first found out, my mum wasn't happy about him, but they did. Yeah, my dad. So towards the end, fast forward. I basically had dinner with my mum. I took her out and I wanted to talk about D because they never wanted to talk about him. They almost like pretended that he didn't exist.
Yeah.
They were like, for example, they were like, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to a concert with him." My mum would just ignore me. It's almost she would pretend that she didn't just hear me say, "He's taking me out." Like they just didn't acknowledge him. Yeah. And my dad took a while to call him my boyfriend. My dad kept saying, "Oh, can you tell your friend this and this and that?" I'm like, "Mom," I said, "Dad, stop saying my friend. He's not my friend. He's my boyfriend." He was like, okay, like that. And eventually they met him, and eventually they met him. My mum is a bit like me. Well, I'm a bit like my mum, resting bitch face. And if she doesn't like someone, she actually just cannot hide it. Yeah. She cannot hide it. Like her face just says it all. She might not be saying anything, but her face says it all. Yeah. Anyway, but going back to that dinner that I took her out, I wanted to talk about D. So basically I was like to her, like, Mum, I got you out tonight because I wanted to talk about D. We've been together for 5 years now, and you're still not accepting him.
Yeah, 5 years, that's a long time.
Yeah, and then she was like, she almost wanted to cry in that restaurant. I was like, for fuck's sake, Mum. But anyway, and then she was like, I'm not saying I'm accepting him. I'm not saying I am accepting him. I don't know. She goes, at this point, I really don't know. At this point, I don't want to think about it. I'm not saying in the future I won't accept him, or I might not even accept him in the future.
Why?
Exactly. And I said, but why, Mum? She goes, and then I said, Mum, I've been with him for 5 years. She goes, I don't know. Do you know I have to face all the family people, the people that have to face knowing that you're going to be with, it's like the face, what you have to tell your family, your friends and things like that.
These people that they see once every 2 years.
Exactly, yeah.
You care more about how they're going to feel than you care about how your daughter's feeling.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
my happiness and stuff like that. Yeah. So anyway, so then that meal. So then afterwards, but the conclusion was basically she doesn't know, right? Whereas my dad has always been very laid back.
Yeah.
He's like, he has said to one of my cousins, because my cousin told me afterwards, I was kind of pissed off. My cousin was like, oh, your dad said like, he obviously prefers you with a Chinese guy, but what can he do? That's what you like, sort of thing. Yeah. So like he will just, whatever whatever makes you happy. So my dad's more laid back about it. And even when he comes around, my dad will make the effort like, for example, like, oh, do you want to try this? Or like, make the effort, basically, make him feel more welcome, whereas my mum just keeps to herself, something like that. And my dad would actually bust jokes with him and things like that. I don't know how we got to this, but but it's all related anyway. So anyway, going back, so you went to the house, told you to get out, and as you was leaving,
my mum was just there at the door, and I could see that she was a bit sad that, you know, because, you know why? I think because she could see my pregnancy then. At this point, I was showing, and I think it's the moment of, like, realization, like, you know, like, shit, she is pregnant. And
it's kicked in, like, post.
Like, so, anyway, like, there was a point when I was pregnant that I was really, like, craving my mum's food. Like, really craving. Like, spicy food was a thing when I like spicy food anyway, but just her cooking, and she used to make this one dish, and I didn't know how to make it, so I was like, I've just got to message her, haven't I? I've just got to, like, send her a message and be like, I really fancy this, can you make it for me? And you know what she said? She was like, I'll make it for you, but you have to come and collect it when your dad's at work.
Oh, that's nice.
So she made me loads of it, actually. And she's like, bring the container back when your dad's at work, like, no problem. So I did that, and then from then I knew she was softer than my dad in regards to this situation. So I was having a baby shower, and I invited her. Do you know what it was? My ex's mum was like, do you want to invite your mum? Like, do you want to invite her? And I was like, yeah, I do, but obviously this is how I'm feeling and, like, the situation, and I don't want to hear no, and I don't want to hear the bullshit that comes with the no. Do you get it? So I was like, right, I'll ask her. I asked her, and she was like, yeah. And she came with one of her friends, like my auntie almost, So they came to the baby shower, and that was the first time, like, I have a photo of me pregnant with my mum. Yeah, that's the only photo that I have with her or any family member when I was pregnant.
Did you ask your brother?
No, it was like more like just women only, because that was when, like, we didn't even really have baby shower. I didn't even know what a baby shower was. Back
then it wasn't the thing, innit?
My ex's mum, her sister lived in America, and she was like, you have to have a baby shower. We were like, how? What do we do? Anyway, she sent all these decorations over from America for us because you couldn't really get them here. So we did it. We had our little baby shower and whatnot, and she came, and then so when it came to, like, we're talking about, like, you know, the time's getting closer for me to give birth and stuff, and my ex's mum, she used to get in her feelings about quite a bit of stuff. Remember, this is the woman that didn't speak to me for 3 months when I first found out. Told me I trapped her son, like, it don't take two to tango. She, like, heard me saying that, you know, you can only have one person in the room. Obviously I wanted my ex, but I was like, if the next person I would have is my mum. And she was like, why are you gonna have your mum? Like, she hasn't been there for you. I'm like, it doesn't matter. She's my mum. Do you know what I mean? And I know if she could, she would. But anyway, I had a C-section, and my ex was the one that was in the room with me. And the day I gave birth, so I wear contact lenses, and you have to take your contact lenses out, your jewelry, everything off, when you go into, like, the surgery room, and I went, like, I had the baby, and they're like about to wheel me into the room where they check everything, and they were like, oh, your dad's here. Now, my ex, his dad is Saint Lucian, but, like, he's half, like, his grandma is, like, Indian Saint Lucian,
Right.
So he looks kind of Indian, So I'm thinking, no, they're talking about, you know, my ex's dad. Like, it's not my dad. No way is it my dad, yeah. Listen, as they're wheeling me, my dad was there, and like, he came to me, he had tears in his eyes. He was like, yeah, it was deep. I was like...
Did you cry?
Well, yeah. I cried because I'm emotional because I've just had a baby, yeah? And like, it's so overwhelming, yeah? And it was just like, the moment he was born, everyone changed. Everyone, the moment he came into this world, like, my parents were different parents. Do you understand? They visit, because when you have a C-section, you have to stay in the hospital a few days. They visited me every day. So basically, the day he was born, Arsenal were playing, massive Arsenal fan, yeah. Arsenal were playing, like, I think they were playing like in the Champions League, and I'm sure it was Barcelona they were playing. And my mum come with her Arsenal shirt on. She took a photo of my son with her badge in the background. Yeah, like, I just remember, like, you know, it was just different. I never thought it would be like that. Never ever thought it would be like that. But I also think during my pregnancy, my mum has like a circle of friends, yeah, like good friends. And I think they kind of sat down with her and they were like, listen, you can't keep basing how you treat your daughter on what other people are thinking. Yeah, like, leave them to whatever they're doing. Do you understand? Like, this is your daughter. She doesn't have any other mother. She has you. Do you understand? So I think that was the conversation that was had and why she softened.
I wish my mum had friends like this.
Well, yeah.
I'm
grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. And, you know, my dad, I remember he said to me when my son was a couple of weeks old and I was at my mum's, I was at their house, and my dad was like, listen, if they can't accept my grandson, they're not welcome in my home. And I was like, really blown away by that.
What a change.
Yeah, he's like, and I just thought, like, it's mad. It's just crazy how, you know, like I said, I've never had this conversation with him. I would love to, just to know, what was it that changed your mind? Like, what was it that caused you to have such a change of heart, you know? Yeah, it was mad.
So has your dad had to tell anyone about themselves for judging you? Family members?
Yeah, I think he has. His brother.
Yeah, what happened?
They don't chat anymore.
What happened? Do you mind?
They don't speak because they have their own drama, you know, like when my grandparents died.
Yeah.
But he made some comments about me.
Yeah.
He made some comments about my son being a mongrel. Yeah, like, that's what you call a dog that's mixed breed, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, that's, yeah. Do you get it? Yeah. And so my dad, you know, he's quite like, he's not a man of many words.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So really, I feel like maybe one day I should get him a bit drunk and, you know, have this conversation with him. But yeah, like, I'd really love to know how that went down. I know that there were some comments made. But I think when my grandparents passed away, it kind of made it easier for my dad as well.
So that it was still because of, like you said, his parents, Yeah.
So, like, this is how mad it is, yeah? So, Jaden was born and my granddad passed away, I want to say within a year.
Did your grandparents ever find out about this?
So my granddad didn't, yeah? Okay. He never knew about him. And
your granddad was in the UK?
Yeah.
And never knew, okay.
No. So he, the family, my dad's side of the family, were very much like, because he was ill, he had cancer, and they were like, you know, if we tell him this news, it's going to make him worse. He's going to die.
I shouldn't be laughing, but...
No, but it's laughable now. You know, when you're like, this is how you lot were thinking. This is so negatively, yeah? How do you know that he wouldn't have reacted in a different way? You know, when people come
might give him life, innit?
When people are coming to end of life, they start to see things differently. I'm guessing, maybe he, you know... Yeah, so he didn't know. He passed away. I went to the funeral.
With the baby?
No.
Okay.
No. He stayed. My friend was looking after him. And then my grandma, she got really ill. And they used to live in Birmingham. So when she got ill, my dad moved her to their home in Hertfordshire. And so she met him. And he must have been about 2.5 when she passed, yeah? So she used to chat to him. He used to chat to her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she used to play with him. And there was no issues there. No issues.
Yeah.
But
So this experience of yours, has it affected anyone in your family? Has it opened the door, maybe giving hope, like people in...
Yeah. Everyone, right? Everyone. Listen, no one. I think maybe in my family there's like one person who is with an Indian out of my cousins and everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone else is with different people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just think maybe it takes one person to do that.
Yeah.
For the family to realise, oh, do you know what? Everyone else is not so bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like even my mum's side of the family, I would say they were more relaxed than my dad's side of the family, yeah. My grandma, my uncle, like they were all very much like, they probably love my son more than they love me. Do you get it?
Oh,
but the
that's
relationship
nice.
my dad had with my son, especially when he was a lot younger, great. Like even now, but when they were young, my dad used to sit there watch Marvel films with him and everything.
Cute.
Like even like the way my parents have been with him since he was born is like I've never seen that side of them. Do you know what I mean? Ever.
The grandparents' side.
Yeah, it's like
out.
you have a baby, they become grandparents and they soften up, and you're like, where was this energy before?
Yeah.
When I needed it, do you get it?
So similarly, my dad's side is more laid back.
Yeah.
But my mum's side, I said this in this show before, they're snobs.
Yeah.
They think they're upper class when they're not. I'm afraid to say it here. It's my show. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for example, give an example, like my dad's side, they're more laid back, but I know they still have an opinion, but then they act slightly different. So basically, with D, for example, one of my auntie, which is, as in my dad's older brother's wife, was like, oh, I've got a picture of your boyfriend. I sent it to her, just on WhatsApp, sent it to her, and she was like, wow, he's very charming, everything like that, yeah.
Nice.
And then she must have sent it to my uncle, and my uncle WhatsApped me straight away and was like, oh, your auntie just sent me a picture of your boyfriend. Wow, he's very charming, handsome, and wow, like he goes, when can I meet him? My uncle, they both live in Hong Kong.
So on your dad's side, yeah?
But bear in mind, they all live in Hong Kong, okay?
So,
none of them has moved to, like, been in the Western, as in, they've been abroad, but not lived in a Western country like my dad. My dad is the first person in his family to migrate to another country, right? Whereas my mum's family, you would think they'd be more open-minded because my granddad was the first person to go to Sweden to start a business, and then everyone else like moved to either Sweden or Canada, family in UK, family in Holland. So you would think they'd be more open-minded, right? But anyway, it's opposite. Anyway, so so at least they were more supportive on my dad's side, whereas my mum's side would be like, I remember this to this day, right? Let's say my other cousin, they live in Sweden. He's married to a Swedish woman with 2 kids, and I remember my mum was like saying, "Oh, granddad doesn't know, does he?" No, like that, and even my uncle auntie was like, I think they didn't want their parents to know. So they never actually went back to Hong Kong, even they got married and had kids. I don't actually know if my grandparents know if they ever got married or not, but they passed away. They passed now, that's RIP. But after they did pass away, I remember mum saying to my cousin, oh, now you can go Hong Kong now because they're not here. Yeah. I bet your parents are relieved or something like along those lines. Yeah, so
I get it.
And my other cousin's also married to a Swedish guy. So there are people who
have married outside.
Yeah. But they just, I guess, to be honest, my cousin, when he first met this Swedish lady, his wife now, they actually wasn't accepting. Apparently they didn't like it.
Who? Your...
My uncle and auntie.
Si-
Listen, they lived in Sweden pretty much their whole life. Not whole life, but like since
This is
20s.
what I don't understand. How are you going to live in a country but not accept the people of that country?
Yeah. And then, do you know what, Brent, listen to this, right? My uncle's best friend is Greek.
But
You won't accept.
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Yeah.
But after they had kids, like similarly like your dad, they changed.
Yeah.
They like they look after the grandchildren.
Yeah.
They love spending time with them.
Yeah.
So I guess children does have an effect on people, you know. Yeah. But that being said, yeah,
it's mad that this is what you have to go through and endure, just for them to see like it's okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy because my grandma, my mum's side, she's never said anything to me. She's never made it known that she had an issue with the race of my son. Do you understand? And that's why I say it's so different to like my dad's side of the family. Like she was just so accepting of it. Like it's not even been like a thing that's been brought up. Yeah. Do you know?
Yeah.
So
after, obviously you're no longer with your son's father.
No.
Yes, you did say ex.
Yeah.
So then you dated other people, and then they were also outside your race. And your parents are okay?
Yeah.
They were fine, obviously.
Yeah. So like,
did they ever expect you to be with a
I don't think so.
Indian guy? No.
I don't think so. Do you know what? Not saying that I wouldn't. Yeah. But I just haven't found one that. I went on a date with one. Yeah. And he was...
I think you told me about this one.
He was so dry.
You told me about... So remember when you broke up with... Well, anyway, you broke up with one of the guys, and then you told me that, your first time, you went out for the first time with a girl, and you met some guy in that club, and you said he was really cute. And then you exchanged numbers, but then I think he called you, or you sent your voice note, and it turns out he's got a thick accent. And you was like, hell no. I think he was Indian or something.
Was
you
it
said.
me?
I swear to God, it was you.
Is it bad that I don't remember that?
Okay, then obviously you blocked it out again. Yeah. But anyway, go on.
I went on this date with this guy. And it was so dry. It's like I'd gone for a job interview. Honestly. Yeah. It's like, where's the fun? Yeah. And do you know what? I don't know if I'm not an intimidating person. I don't think I am. But I feel like they don't like me. Do you know when you just get that vibe?
Same with me, like Chinese guys. I always said, like, I don't think Chinese guys find me attractive. Yeah. Because...
And do you know what as well? I think when you have a kid, like, it's like, no. Because a lot of them are still very traditional. They will be like, yeah, it's a no-go. It's fine, hun, I don't want you. It's okay.
Yeah, and now your dad, and your son, I see them, and your brother, like,
big
happy family. And I remember when I first saw the baby photos of your son, it was so cute. Yeah, it was so cute. I remember.
It was a bit of a shock, I think, when people realised that I had a baby as well. But I mean,
I remember like friends from school that we both know. He was the one that told me, oh yeah, Shreeya got disowned by her parents.
Who?
Sagan.
Was it?
Yeah, he told me. He was the one that told me, like...
What a snake!
Yeah, he was like, she's
How
got
the fuck did he know? Because I never had a conversation with him about it.
Well, people talking it. Like, must have told him, saying, she got pregnant and she got disowned. I was like, really? And that's how I found out. And then I went on, I think, was it Facebook or High Five, one or the other? If it must be Facebook.
I'm a bad High Five.
Okay, maybe Facebook. And then I went on your page and I saw these pictures, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah. But you know what? So
what a snake.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
But how was life as a young mum?
Hard. Really hard, because you're still a teenager. You're trying to figure yourself out. You're raising a kid. You have to learn patience. And you have to learn, like, to prioritize certain things. You see your friends going out and doing certain things that you can't go and do. Do you know what I mean? It's hard. But I rode it out.
Yeah, you
know what I
did.
mean?
And
Yeah.
now, like, you're a very talented nail technician.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still look beautiful.
Thanks.
But she's taken, okay?
Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Lucky man.
Yeah. And I'm happy. Like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
as well, so, you know.
He's going to be watching this, isn't it?
Shit. Can we not say too much?
No, don't worry. Don't worry. By the way, we can always cut out. Just don't leave it afterwards.
No, you can leave it in. You can leave it in. Because you were with
D
for
9 years.
Yeah, a long time.
I was
So
with D for 9
when you broke up with him, how was that for you? Like, what were your parents like when you broke up with him? Did they try and say it's because of this or because of that, or were they like, I told you so?
They didn't.
Okay.
Right. So you know what? So me and Dee, there was one point we actually we'd always been together for 9 years. After 5 years, after 3 or 4 years being together, we actually did break up.
Okay.
We did break up.
Break.
A little break, but then not for 2 weeks. But then we got back together, sort of thing. That time I did feel like there was a bit of they did have like a told you so, but then we got back together. I didn't get back with him because I wanted to prove him wrong. It wasn't that, just because I love him. Anyway, so we got back together. Anyway, 9 years. When I left him, officially left him, the reason we left him because, you know, he was no longer making the effort, all of that. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah. 9 years is a long time.
It is a long
to
time.
just be boyfriend and girlfriend, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and he used to always just say, oh yeah, I'm going to propose to her. You don't just tell the woman you're going to propose to her.
It's all words.
And
I'd
don't
rather
do
just see
nothing.
actions, you know that.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't chat.
I'd rather you don't say it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Anyway, so eventually basically broke up. I think my mum was she happy? Was she relieved?
I bet she was.
She was. A bit, she was, but at the same time,
Was she?
she
like,
was basically. I think was it her that told me, or another lady said to me. Basically, she was like, "Yeah, your mum is not so relieved because just because you broke up with him doesn't mean the next one will be a Chinese guy. It won't be out of the race." Basically,
wow. Be sad for me, hun. A little bit, yeah.
So anyway, we never actually spoke about it. They never actually asked me if I'm okay, nothing like that. They just let me be, whatever. So, but yeah, me and he went through a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of, as in the stuff. When I say a lot, I mean, okay, well, yeah, a lot of stuff. But like, I'm talking about in terms of family, like, you know, things like that I had to cut, like,
a lot of hurdles.
Yeah, hurdles. Yeah. He even said that when I broke up with him, when we had the final chat to cool things off, he was like, you know what, I realized that you actually sacrificed a lot for me because your parents didn't accept me, and you still stayed with me, stuck with me, you even moved in with me. So like he said, like, it's weird, isn't it? It's only after you break up you realize all of these kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And because also he knows that
also, like, how the behavior of your family is affecting your partner at the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though they might not speak up, like, I know my ex didn't really speak up about it, but I'm sure he was a bit like, well, raw, like, how am I that bad? That do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I remember also because there was this one time I went to Sweden for my cousin's wedding. It was just her friends. I was the only family member there because she wanted to make it friendly, and for the family one would be in Hong Kong. Yeah. And I was there because of the bridesmaid, and I brought Dee with me, and that caused the biggest drama ever.
Seriously,
I didn't talk to my mum for 2 weeks because. So this, I'm actually this first time like sharing this publicly, you know.
Shit. Tea.
So basically, like, my cousin was getting married. No other family member knows that I was there because of the family complication, the politics. They didn't want to know that because the families weren't invited. Okay. They don't want to be like, why is Celia invited and sort of thing. So they were just like, you know what, my uncle, auntie, just like, don't let anyone know that Celia's there. So that's why nobody even knew that my boyfriend was there. Anyway, so went there, blah blah, and then when I came back now. I spoke to my brother on the phone. My brother was like, oh, you know...
By the way, how was your brother throughout your whole relationship? Like, what was he like? Was he cool?
He was cool, he was laid back. He never said anything.
Yeah, same.
He never said much. I I think too much. My brother always known that I'm very like I'm a free spirit. Like he knows that
Yeah.
my sister's crazy sort of thing like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
She does whatever she wants to do. Like you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah. But yeah. So anyway, so coming back from Sweden now, my brother was like, oh yeah, you know, Uncle had a go at Mum. I was like, what do you mean? Like for bringing your boyfriend?
So you're meant to go by yourself?
And I was like, what did he say? He was like, that apparently like, because.
What did he say?
He said like...
You're allowed to say what he said?
No, that, him being the only black guy there, apparently he felt embarrassed about it, okay?
How about how Dee's feeling, being the only black guy there?
Yeah, and then other people was like Swedish and Chinese and things like that. But anyway, so then apparently my mum was like, because apparently he was having a go at my mum, and my mum was really upset about that, was so cross with me. So then I said, what did Mum say? Mum was just like, oh, why did your sister bring her boyfriend, da 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 da. Anyway, so that was that. And so then I phoned my cousin. I was like, is this true what your dad said about Dee? Because bearing in mind, oh yeah, by the way, when we went to Sweden, we did go to my cousin's house and her parents for dinner, so they met Dee.
So they were fully aware of him. It wasn't a shock or a surprise.
So they met him before the wedding day.
So did they invite him to the wedding? Did they invite him to the wedding or?
No, my cousin invited me, but I asked, can I bring Dee? And she was like, yeah.
Okay. So they knew it's not like you just turned up with him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much they knew. That's the thing. I think they knew how the boyfriend, but I just don't know where his race. Anyway, so then I phoned my cousin and was like, is this what your dad said? And then she was like, not that I know of, but even if he did, obviously I don't agree with him. And plus, me and Jay like really liked him. Like, you know, we think he was very mature. He's a really nice guy. Blah blah blah. Anyway, got off the phone, and then she asked her dad if that was true, and apparently he didn't say that. He said no. I can't remember what she said he said, but apparently he did not say the way he has said it to my mum. Okay, anyway. So then...
but he still insinuated that same...
Yeah. So anyway, so then he said, so I was like, oh, of course, when he came round to our house, of course, I still had to do my part and still welcome him as a guest. I still have to be nice to him like that. Anyway. So then that night I spoke to my cousin. It was a Saturday night, so I went back to home. So I could not go home on a weekend. So I went home, and my mum was like, that's the first time I saw my mum since the wedding. And my mum was like, oh, do you know what your uncle said? I was like, yeah, I asked my cousin, and he said that he didn't say that, and also, he knew he was a guest. But anyway, I just told her what he said, and then she goes to me, yeah, do you know what else he said about you? I said, what did he say?
Stop.
He said, you got mental health, and you should go see a counsellor. And I said, and I looked, and I turned around, and I said, do you think I have mental health?
Yeah.
And then she goes, yeah, I think you do. And I knew she said it out because she was angry. She didn't mean it, but she said it because she was angry. And then I was like, and I said, are you fucking stupid? In Chinese like that. And then, because I started raising my voice, my brother and my dad walked into the kitchen. They're thinking, oh my God, like what's going on like that? And then I can't remember what my mum said. And then I didn't even want to talk to my mum at that point. My brother was here. I turned to my brother and I just said to him in English, I said, Mum is a fucking ugly bitch, in those words. I said it because, one, I wanted to hurt her at that time. Because I was so hurt, I wanted to hurt her. I'm going to cry. Actually.
Yeah, I can see it in your face, yeah.
And then my brother was just like, oh, and turned to my mum was like, Mum, do you understand what you're doing is right? It's wrong.
You can't say those things.
Yeah. And then the reason I was just call her ugly bitch because I was saying about her as a person, her character.
I get it. To make those comments.
Yeah, and then so then after that, I just burst into tears and ran up to my room, a voice note my cousin, and I said, my mum just told me your dad said this about me. I said, this is true. And then she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then apparently she this was like late now, it's like 11. So in Sweden they're an hour ahead of us. So she phoned her dad, and it's midnight. Apparently she woke her dad up to ask, is this true what you said? And then he was like, look, listen, it's late, I'm sleeping, let's talk about it tomorrow. But it's not what I said. So the next day she phoned me, she left me a voice note because she went round to his house for dinner. And then apparently he was like, I don't know if it's your auntie, as in my mum, misunderstood what I said, but I didn't say she has mental health. What I said was, you need to persuade your daughter to break up with him. But if she's really heartbroken and maybe really become depressed, then she should go see a counsellor. And that's what I meant, apparently. And my cousin told me that. When she told me at the time, I was just like, you think, is there anything better or something like that?
Do you know what I mean?
And I was just like, I just thought,
so you, for what, this is what I don't understand. So you must endure heartbreak, depression, and all of these things, like if they force you to break up with him, for what? So they're happy. So that will then make them happy that you have to go through that.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so then I also said to my cousin, okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. I didn't want to talk about it because I was thinking, do you think this is making the situation better? Anyway, so then I didn't talk for my mum for 2 weeks. So, you know, because I go back home every weekend. That one of the weekend when I saw her, I just did my part by greeting her. Hey, mum. She ignored me. My dad was just like, you know, when you see your mum, just greet her. I was like, yeah, I will greet mum.
Yeah,
but she's
out
the
of respect.
Yeah, like she's the one that just ignored me. She's like, yeah. He was like, yeah, no. But anyway, so my dad was like cool the whole time like that. It was just me and my mum, because me and my mum are quite similar. So we kind of clashed. But anyway, so and then I'm not gonna lie, I was it's bad. It's actually wrong of me. I went through her phone to see what my auntie said to her, because I know, because my cousin told my uncle told her dad.
Do you think your mum was twisting things to try and make you stop dating D, or to make you feel like, do you get it? Like, this is how everyone else is perceiving this situation. Like, why can't you see that? Maybe
she said it out of anger. I don't know. Maybe. But anyway, so then because my cousin actually told her dad that me and my mum had a massive argument because of this, and he said apparently he feels really bad because he did not expect it to happen. I'm thinking, what do you mean you didn't expect it? Do you
can't make these comments and think there's no aftermath?
Yeah, he probably didn't expect me to be so fiery. He probably didn't know that side of me. He probably think I wouldn't say anything to my mum. He probably didn't think I would give it back or something like that, like back chat or something like that.
Be just a submissive, good little Asian girl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, so then my auntie had, then I saw that she sent a text message to my mum saying that, me and your brother are really sorry that this has happened, that you and Celia had an argument. You know, your brother is actually, he actually feels so sorry. He actually feels really bad. He did not expect it to happen. He feels really bad. The reason your brother said something is because she loves Celia. Let me finish. Because she loves Celia and really cares about her, and she just thinks and he just thinks she can do better, deserves better or something like that, because she's just an intelligent, beautiful girl. When I read that message, I was just like, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
First of all, if he feels bad, you will fucking put your pride down, because I think also it's culture, because you're the older.
Oh God,
you're not gonna call your younger one to apologize for the drama you caused. So anyway, that's probably why. But if you really feel bad, why don't you text a message to my mum and say, I'm so sorry this has happened. Yeah. Second of all, don't chat shit about you love me or you care about me. Since when? Not that I care whether you love me or not.
But they're like, oh, you can do so much. Did they even get to know D? Did they know what he was like, how he treated you? Any of these things for them to come to that conclusion that you can do better.
Yeah. And not even that, right? Not even that. It's like, I only see you probably once a year.
Yeah.
Do you ever call me and say, how did you do with your grades, or how do you know what I mean? Like, ask about me. In fact, no, tell a lie. They do ask about my grades. Ask my mum, because Chinese people are so like caught up on how they're doing in school.
Studies.
Although it doesn't really matter. What's it to them how I do in school? Because if I do bad, they feel like they have a saying to fucking give you a lecture. That's how Chinese people are, like the culture, like, well, and at least some Chinese families are like that anyway. My mum's side are like that anyway. They will give you a lecture because they're your uncle. They think they have a saying to give you a lecture, like they're your dad, saying that, oh, you better do well in school because this is going to happen to you. My dad doesn't even give me this kind of lecture.
Did you ever get told like you've got to do well in school, otherwise you're going to end up working in McDonald's? Similar.
I got told that if you don't go to school, don't do well in school, people are going to look down at you and you're not going to get a good job. Big company won't hire you. I remember my granddad used to always say that to me. Well, not my mum and dad, it's my granddad who say that to me, as in my mum's dad. And I think it's because of that I became so rebellious. Like, growing up, I was just like, I never worked for a corporate company because I do not want to work for corporate, because I hate authority. Because of, I think my mum's side, hierarchy and authority. That's why I refused to work for a corporate company. And now I'm a fucking person. Well, I was a personal trainer, but now I'm working for myself. Content creator.
You know? Yeah, but doing what makes you happy, when you wake up in the morning and you're happy to do what you're doing, you're earning money from it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not all about, yeah, it would be great if you can earn hundreds of thousands of pounds doing
Yeah.
it. But at the same time, like
People are like, you see all these people who work for this corporate job, they're not even happy. Some of them are like stressful. They'll complain. They'll be like, oh, I need a holiday. I couldn't. Do you know what I mean? They complain about saying long hours and all of that. And yeah, you know. But anyway. So let's wrap it up here. We've done a really long episode on this one.
That was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Anyway, but Shreeya's going to come back. We got some other stuff we want to talk about. So, but yeah, thank you for watching. Oh, how can they? Tell them about your nail page.
Okay, yeah. So I do nails. My Instagram is nailed, NAILD by Shreeya. You can see all my work on there. You can book me by sending me a DM.
Yeah, and also
and always look out for her nails because she always comes up with the maddest ideas.
Yeah, I love it. It's like I always come up with. I look at Pinterest and I'll give her this. I want something like this, and she'll take that design as inspiration, and she just come up with some mad stuff. And I always love letting you do your thing, be all creative.
Well, everything's hand painted.
Yeah.
No stickers, no stencils around here.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, her nail art is wicked. And you know, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen that I had an NFC tag on my nail where I put my thumb over my phone and my Instagram pop up.
Yeah.
That's by her too, like nail tech.
Yeah, we can do all of that. All of that.
But anyway, your details will be in the description at the end. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching or listening. Please share this or comment whatever. Let us know what you think of this. Show us love. And yeah, until next time, thank you very much.